The Sapphire Bay Resort stretched along 2 miles of pristine Caribbean coastline, its white buildings cascading down to turquoise water. I'd purchased the property 6 years ago when it was a struggling 3-star hotel, invested $12 million in renovations, and transformed it into a 5-star destination that anchored my 11-property resort chain. My family's annual reunion was being held here this year. 40 relatives gathering for a long weekend, and not one of them knew they were staying at my resort. "Welcome to Sapphire Bay," the valet said warmly, reaching for my luggage from my 10-year-old Honda. His name tag read Marcus, and I recognized him from the staff photos my regional manager sent monthly. Checking in. Yes, under the Summers family reunion block. His eyebrows rose slightly. "Miss Summers? I'll have your bag sent directly to—" "Just follow the standard reunion room assignments, please," I interrupted gently. "I'm a guest today." "Of course." He looked confused but handed me a claim ticket. The lobby was all marble and ocean views, with the signature blue glass chandelier I'd commissioned from a Miami artist. My cousin Ashley held court near the check-in desk, directing family members with a clipboard and an air of authority. "Kate." He waved me over. "You're finally here. We were worried you wouldn't make it." "Flight was delayed," I said, hugging her briefly. "Well, you're just in time. I've got everyone's room assignments organized. We've been upgraded. The resort gave us an amazing deal on suites for the whole family." She beamed. "Oceanfront, balconies, the works." "That's great. Your room is ready too. Let me just check." She consulted her clipboard. What?" "So, the suite upgrades were for couples and families. Since you're single, they kept you in a standard room. But it's still nice. Poolside view." I waited. "It's just that everyone else is in the North Tower with ocean views and you're in the South building. But honestly, Kate, you'll probably be so busy with family activities you won't even notice." My cousin Jessica appeared, designer sunglasses perched on her head. "Did you tell her about the rooms?" "Just explaining the arrangement," Ashley said. Jessica nodded sympathetically. "It's actually better this way. The South building is quieter. More your speed, you know? Less chaotic than being with all the couples and their kids." "High speed," I repeated. "You know what I mean. You're always so independent. Content with less." She gestured at my simple sundress and carry-on bag. "This way you won't feel out of place when everyone else is posting photos from their fancy suites." I checked in with the front desk agent, who clearly knew who I was but followed my earlier instruction to treat me like any other guest. She handed me a key card to room 142, a ground floor standard with a view of the resort's smaller pool, far from the luxury accommodations in the North Tower. My phone buzzed as I headed to my room. A text from Ashley in the family group chat. "Everyone's upgraded to suites except Kate. She's in a standard room but says she doesn't mind. So generous of her to understand." Smiling face with smiling eyes. Replies flooded in. "That's our Kate, always so easygoing. At least she gets a poolside view. Better than nothing else." I stood in the hallway outside room 142, looking at the text thread. My family celebrating their upgraded suites at my resort, while I'd been assigned the cheapest room in the building. I opened the door to find a perfectly adequate standard room. Crisp white linens, basic furniture, a small bathroom. Through the window I could see the secondary pool where families with small children played. It was nice. It was fine. It was nowhere near the oceanfront suites where my family was unpacking in luxury I'd personally designed. I pulled out my phone and called the front desk. "This is Kate Summers. I need to speak with the regional manager immediately." "Miss Summers?" "Of course. I'll connect you with Mr. Patterson right away." Derek Patterson answered on the first ring. "Miss Summers, I didn't realize you were on property today. Is everything all right? I'm here for a family reunion. The Summers family block. Do you have the reservation details?" "One moment." I heard typing. "Yes, we have 40 guests under that block. Premium suite upgrades for most of the party, some standard rooms." He paused. "Oh. They assigned you to room 142. "They did. That's our most basic accommodation." "Who approved that room assignment for the owner?" "My family doesn't know I own the resort, Derek. They think they got a generous upgrade deal. And they decided I didn't qualify for a suite because I'm single." Silence on the other end. "Derek, I need you to do something for me." "Anything." Reverse all the suite upgrades. Move my family back to standard rooms. Cancel the resort credits, the complimentary breakfast and the spa discounts. Return them to the standard reunion package rate. You want me to downgrade your entire family? Immediately. Miss Summers, that's going to cause complaints. They'll demand to speak with management. I'm counting on it. 20 minutes later, I was unpacking my carry-on when my phone exploded with notifications. Ashley, Kate, did you see? They're moving us out of the suites. Some kind of computer error. Jessica, this is ridiculous. We already unpacked. They're saying we have to move to standard rooms. My Uncle Tom, the manager says there's no resort credits anymore either. What kind of place is this? Aunt Linda, I'm going to the front desk to complain. This is unacceptable service. I smiled and headed to the lobby. The scene was exactly what I'd expected. 15 angry family members crowded around the front desk, voices overlapping as they demanded explanations. Ashley waved her clipboard like a weapon. Jessica was filming on her phone, probably planning to post a scathing review. This is outrageous, Aunt Linda declared. We had confirmed upgrades. Oceanfront suites. Now you're saying we have to move to smaller rooms. The front desk agent maintained professional composure. I apologize for the confusion, but there was an error in the original booking. The suite upgrades and resort credits weren't actually approved. I have the confirmation email. Ashley thrust her phone forward. It says right here we're getting the premium experience. I understand, ma'am, but I want to speak to the manager, Uncle Tom interrupted. This is unacceptable. We're a party of 40. We deserve better treatment. I'll get the regional manager, the agent said, already reaching for her phone. I stood at the back of the group watching the chaos unfold. My cousin Ryan spotted me. Kate, can you believe this? They're downgrading everyone. Everyone? I asked innocently. Well, not you, obviously. You're already in a standard room. He said it without malice, just stating what he thought was obvious. But the rest of us are being moved from luxury suites to regular rooms. It's crazy. Derek Patterson emerged from the executive offices, immaculate in his resort manager suit. His eyes found mine immediately, a question in them. I gave him the slightest nod. Ladies and gentlemen, he said, his voice cutting through the complaints. I apologize for the confusion regarding your room assignments. Confusion? Jessica snapped. This is incompetence. We were promised upgrades. I understand your frustration. However, I need to clarify something about this situation. He pulled out his tablet. The Summers family reunion block was booked at our standard group rate. The suite upgrades you received were unauthorized. Unauthorized by who? Ashley demanded. By the property owner. Derek's gaze swept across my family. Miss Summers specifically requested that all upgrades be revoked. The lobby went silent. Miss Summers. Aunt Linda's voice was sharp. Kate had nothing to do with our booking. Ashley arranged everything. Not Kate, Derek said. Catherine Summers. The owner of Sapphire Bay Resort and the entire Sapphire Collection resort chain. You could have heard a pin drop. Ashley's clipboard clattered to the marble floor. Kate doesn't, she couldn't. She works in hotel management. She owns hotel management, Derek corrected. 11 properties across the Caribbean and Central America. Sapphire Bay is the flagship. Jessica's phone was still recording, capturing every stunned face. That's impossible, Uncle Tom said weakly. Kate drives a Honda. She dresses like she shops at outlet malls. I do shop at outlet malls, I said, stepping forward from the back of the group. And my Honda runs perfectly well. Neither of those things has any bearing on my net worth. The crowd parted as I walked toward Derek. Miss Summers, he said formally. I've executed your instructions. All room assignments have been returned to the standard group rate. Should I proceed with the downgrades? Every eye was on me. Ashley found her voice. Kate, you own this resort? I purchased it 6 years ago. Invested $12 million in renovations. Built the North Tower you were all just complaining about being moved out of. But you never said anything. You let us book here, let us think we were getting some special deal. You did get a special deal, I interrupted. I approved a 40% discount on your group rate because you're family. The upgrades you received? Those were complimentary because I wanted you to enjoy the resort. Until I saw the room assignments. Jessica lowered her phone slowly. The room assignments? I was given a standard room. Ground floor poolside. The cheapest accommodation we offer. I looked at Ashley. You texted the family chat saying I didn't mind being in a lesser room because I'm generous and easygoing. Ashley's face went red. You decided I didn't qualify for an upgrade because I'm single. Because I'm different. Because you assumed I couldn't afford better anyway. We didn't mean it like that, Jessica protested. How did you mean it then? I asked quietly. When you said the standard room was more my speed? When you suggested I'd feel out of place in the luxury suites? When you told everyone I was content with less? Silence. I own this resort, I continued. I designed those suites you were so excited about. I selected every piece of furniture, every art piece, every amenity. I built the spa where you booked treatments and the restaurant where you made reservations. And you assigned me to the worst room in the building because you decided I wasn't good enough for better. Aunt Linda sank into a nearby chair. Kate, we didn't know. You didn't ask. You made assumptions based on my car and my clothes and my marital status. You decided I was less successful, less important, less deserving. Ryan stepped forward. So you're punishing us by taking away the upgrades. I'm giving you what you booked, I corrected. Standard rooms at a discounted group rate. Which is still generous considering you tried to exclude me from the luxury accommodations at my own resort. Derek cleared his throat. Miss Summers, should I proceed with reassigning rooms? I looked at my family, 40 faces showing various degrees of shame, confusion, and residual entitlement. Part of me wanted to let them sit in their embarrassment, let them experience the standard rooms they deemed good enough for me. But they were still family. No, I said finally. Keep the suite upgrades. Restore the resort credits and the breakfast. They can stay in the North Tower. Relief flooded several faces. But, I continued, I'm moving to the presidential suite. The one in the private tower that's not available for standard bookings. With the ocean views, private infinity pool and dedicated concierge service. The suite that costs $12,000 per night. $12,000, Ashley choked. I am still the owner, I said. And I deserve the best accommodations at my own property. Derek, have my things moved immediately. With pleasure, Miss Summers. As Derek made arrangements on his tablet, I turned back to my family. You're welcome to enjoy your suites. Enjoy the resort, the amenities, the vacation. But from now on you include me. Not because I own the place, but because I'm family and I deserve the same respect you give each other. Uncle Tom found his voice. Kate, we're sorry. We should have. You should have treated me better regardless of what you thought my bank account looked like, I finished. But yes, you should have. Ashley picked up her clipboard with shaking hands. Can we start over? Can you tell us about your business? Really tell us. I considered. The presidential suite was probably ready by now. I could retreat there, enjoy my private pool and ocean views, let them wonder about the empire I'd built. But they were asking. Finally asking. This evening, I said. Come to my suite at 7. I'll order dinner from our executive chef, the one I recruited from a Michelin-starred restaurant in Miami, and tell you everything. Your suite? Jessica asked hesitantly. The presidential suite, yes. There's room for 40 on the terrace. Bring everyone. It's time you understood who I am. That evening, my family gathered on the sprawling terrace of the presidential suite. The sun set over the Caribbean, painting the sky in impossible colors. My private chef served courses I'd personally approved, wine from my resort's premium cellar. And I told them everything. About buying my first struggling hotel at 28 with money I'd saved from a tech job. About renovating it, turning it profitable, selling it for triple my investment. About building a portfolio of 11 properties across 6 years. About creating the Sapphire Collection brand that was now synonymous with luxury Caribbean hospitality. They listened. Actually listened without interruption or dismissal. You did all this by yourself? My cousin Ryan asked, awed. With excellent teams at each property, I said. But yes, the vision and capital were mine. Ashley set down her wine glass carefully. And we put you in room 142. You did. I'm so sorry, Kate. I thought I was being practical. I thought you wouldn't care about the room quality because you never seem to care about appearances. I don't care about appearances, I agreed. But I care about being valued. About being included. About my family seeing me as worthy of the same treatment they give each other. We see you now, Aunt Linda said quietly. And Kate, we're proud of you. We should have been proud all along. The evening continued with questions about my business, my properties, my plans for expansion. They wanted to know everything, and for the first time I believed they genuinely cared about the answers. Later, after everyone left, I stood alone on my terrace overlooking the resort I'd built. The North Tower lights glowed where my family slept in their complimentary suites. The resort hummed with satisfied guests enjoying amenities I'd created. My phone buzzed. A text from Ashley to the family group chat. Thanks to Kate for an incredible evening. I'm sorry for how we treated her. She deserves every success she's built. Red heart. Replies flooded in, apologies and admiration mixing together. I smiled and looked out at the Caribbean night. They finally saw me. The successful businesswoman. The resort owner. The woman who'd built an empire while they'd assumed she was barely getting by. But more than that, the family member who'd chosen grace over revenge, even when she had every right to cancel their entire vacation. I'd revealed my success on my terms at my resort with my grace. And that was worth more than any presidential suite.